yeah, let's dive in now. So look, who's Adam Holloway and why is this the good news? Why is this the good appointment? Well, so Adam was a Conservative MP for many years between 2005 and 2024, lost his seat at the last election, and he was one of the sound Conservative MPs, one of the few genuinely really sound right-wing Tories that I could think of. And I really wanted him to join Reform, to be honest with you, before the election. You know, when I was thinking about it myself, I was hoping people like him were going to make the break, he and Andrea Jenkins, I thought they were going to do it, but they didn't. And it was a shame. He lost his seat. Who is he? So he was a really staunch Brexiteer. He was one of the Spartans, along with Mark Francois and others. Those guys who really went to the mattresses, who, through thick and thin, opposed Theresa May's Brexit deal that was, selling out Brexit. So he was one of those guys. He also took a really robust stance against lockdowns during the pandemic. He was one of those increasingly outspoken voices, from fairly early on in 2020, to be honest, who was, pretty concerned about the direction of travel, the creeping authoritarianism, not so creeping, actually, if I'm honest. And, he took a stance, and he was one of the brave ones who, took some flack, but kind of, kept speaking out against them. And I totally accept that not everybody agrees that, lockdowns were the worst thing in the world. Totally accept in Reform there are going to be people with differing views to me on that. But for me, that was a marker of his soundness. And, his background before becoming an MP as well. He was, a captain in the Grenadier Guards. He saw action in the the Gulf War in the early 1990s. He later had a career as an investigative journalist, was pretty good at that by all accounts. I think he's a real asset for Reform, actually. He's a bit of an authority on defence, as you'd imagine, but he's just good. He's really sound. He believes in limited government, low taxes. He's just got common sense. He's the kind of person you want. He knows his way around Parliament.